Welcome back to another Mr. Lee Teaches YouTube tutorial. Today we're going to talk about Gmail, and I'm going to start to finish a brand new account in Gmail and show you how to set up things like signatures and filters and labels. Very basic stuff, but stuff that'll make your life so much easier using Gmail. And it doesn't matter if you've used Outlook before or Yahoo Mail or anything like that. This will be a introductory, basic intro into using Gmail either for work or personal, because all of this is applicable to both sides of the Gmail app. So let's get started. So here we are at the welcome page for Gmail, and if you don't know how to get to Gmail, you literally just type in gmail.com. And if you hit enter and are already signed in, which I am, it will pull up your Gmail account. And it'll take a second to load. And then here's all your inbox with all of your messages. And this is an account that I use for demo purposes, so there's not a lot in here of any kind of substance. But the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go over to our gear. And this is our settings. And we're going to go down and we're going to look at our settings. And so here we see that we can change our language, default country, maximum page size, how many conversations are on a page, all of that kind of stuff. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to check this box here under default reply behavior. We're going to check reply. Too many times people forget to check that and accidentally hit reply all when they really only want to reply. Very rarely do you want to reply all to a lot of emails. Most of the time you want to reply back to the person that sent it, not to everybody in the list. So checking that as a reply only, and then when you do want to reply all, purposely checking reply all is a great email etiquette tip there. You can choose whether you want to display images or ask first. Smart Compose is defaulted to on. Your default text size and style, you could change that here if you had a particular font that you wanted to use or size of text that you wanted to use. If you wanted a particular color of your text, that kind of thing. So you can change those. Conversation view, or if you wanted each individual message to be individual, that's where this is. And so anyway, we're coming down here, so we can do two things. We can set up a picture so that people see our face or our avatar when they get an email from us or when they look at our things from our account. But then also we're going to set up a signature. So here under my picture, I'm going to check change picture, and then I can upload one from my computer. If I go to pictures or downloads, so I'm just going to change it to this because I don't have a picture of me downloaded. It doesn't matter. It's something that identifies you other than just the blank man silhouette. And so, but I do strongly suggest you use a picture of yourself or like a Bitmoji of yourself or something like that to where people can identify you just by looking at those images, because it's so easy to know who it's from by just glancing through and seeing the pictures, as opposed to trying to read email addresses, which sometimes can be confusing. If you're not close friends with somebody and I'm not very familiar with your email address, sometimes it helps if I can see a face or have some sort of picture to associate with a person. So I'm just going to use this for now, and then we'll upload it, and then you can actually go in and change how it looks, cropping it slightly, and then you apply changes. Now I'm not going to apply changes because I've already got a picture in there, but if you hit apply changes, your new picture will show up there, and you can say is visible to everybody or visit to only people I chat with. Typically you just want to make it visible to everybody. There's no real secret of what you look like when you're sending emails. You're sending an email to somebody, you're obviously wanting to make contact with them. Create contacts for autocomplete, that you can leave alone. And then you're going to default to no signature. You want to add a signature. And so we're going to add a signature here. Typically, I'll add a space just to make sure that there's a little bit of space between the body of my message and my email signature. And then I'm going to put my name. A lot of times people will put something like thanks, but I typically will put that in the body myself, so I don't do that in my signature. I do put my name. I do put my room number, because if I'm coming to, coming down the hall to you, if I'm a new teacher, if I'm a visiting administrator, if I am emailing with you and I need to get to you at some point, knowing your room number is actually a really good idea to include in your signature. And then I'll put my school, and then typically I will put a phone number at which I can be reached. So that way, and it's not necessarily my room extension, but maybe it's just the phone number to the school. If I do have a number directly to my classroom, I'll put that sometimes too. I don't put my cell phone in my business, except for my work cell phone. I will put that number in there. But I put a contact, so that way they know your email address because you're emailing them. That's a given. But a phone call sometimes is better than an email address. And if I'm visiting in person, I may find it beneficial to have a room number. So this is what would be considered a good, complete email signature. Now we can also go in here and change some of the fonts and some of the things about the signature to make it more personal, to make it more you. So we can go in here and do all kinds of stuff, and you can play with this at your own leisure. But then also we can add an image to our email signature. And so that's just by going here and doing an insert an image. And so we will look, it'll look in your Google Drive first, but I'm going to upload an image, and that's in downloads, just to add an image to our signature. And there, now we have our image. It's the original size, so I want to make it smaller. Still want to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So now I have my name, my room number, what school I'm at, my phone contact information, and then a small image. Image could be some badges you've earned, some degrees you've gotten. Maybe it's just the school logo, or maybe your class came up with a logo and you used your classroom logo. But it gives gives you a chance to express your personality in your signature. Once we're done with all of that in our settings, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and we're going to click Save Changes. Most of the time in Google products, you don't have to save changes. Gmail is one of the exceptions. In the settings, you do have to save changes, so I'm going to save my change. And now when I go to compose an email, I have my nice fancy schmancy signature down there already. So I have a lot of these emails, and look, I've got a couple from Security Alert. I've got a couple from when I transferred some files in here, some verified accounts. So I want to clean up my inbox a little bit. So if I go over here to the left and I click on More, I can see a few mailboxes that are pre-made for me, the spam one, the trash one, drafts sent. But let's just say I want to make a new one on my own. I am going to go back to my settings, and I'm going to go to labels, because actually what all of those are labels. They're not actually mailboxes, they're just labels. And you can have multiple labels given to one particular message. So you can have as many labels as you want on each message. So I'm going to create a new label. At the bottom, click Create New Label, and I'm going to put Google Contacts. And I could put that underneath another label if I wanted to. So I could have a Google label, and then underneath Google I could have Security Alerts. And so I could nest it as far as I wanted, but I'm just going to make this one and click Create. And now you see it over here on the left. So I have those here. I could go back to my inbox and then click and drag into that mailbox. But an easier way to do it is to come in here and grab the email address that sends whatever it is you want filtered. We're going to make a filter. So I'm going to go back to my settings, and I'm going to go to filters and blocked addresses. And then I'm going to create a new filter. And I'm going to say from no reply at accounts Google. And if it was a particular subject, I could do it there. If it was just particular words, I could put just particular words, and that's in the subject or in the body. If it has a certain size, so if a particular person sends you really large files, you could use this. If it has attachments, you can go one box. If it doesn't have attachments, you can go to another box. But I'm just going to create this one, and I'm going to create the filter. And now I get some options of what to do with that filter automatically. I could skip the inbox, which means it never hits my inbox. It automatically goes into that filter, and I never see a new email from that address, which I don't really want, but I do want to mark it as read. Because I don't read those all the time, I just want to have them in case I need to refer back to them. I'm going to apply a label, which I just made. So Google Contact. I could forward it if it's something that comes in that a couple other people need to see too. I could forward it. Just delete it. If it's something that sometimes goes to spam and I don't want it to, I could mark it to never go to spam. I could categorize it as one of our categories, and I'm going to talk about the categories in just a minute. But then it says here at the very bottom, also apply this filter to 11 matching conversations. I want to check that because this will go back through my inbox and pull all of those conversations that I've already gotten that meet these qualifications and put them into the right filter or the right label. So now I'm going to create the filter. And so the filter was created. So now I'm going to go back over here. And if I go back in, look, the two that I drug in were there. But now all of these others from no reply at google.com came in here as well. So this is a way to clean up your inbox, to organize things, and it does it automatically. But then also, see, like this one wasn't pulled in there. It's from obviously a different email address. I can still click and drag and put stuff in there. So it'll work both ways once you make the label and then make the filter to automate things. And then if you notice, see, I've got 2 unread in there. So it still lets me know that I have some unread in that filter, or that have been filtered into that label. And so I can go back and check those independently. Now, a while ago, I mentioned that we could put this into a category. So let's look at the categories. Right now, this is just a wide open, everything comes into my inbox and it's all here. Sometimes can be overwhelming if you get a lot of emails every day or from a lot of different people, or if you don't check your email all the time. So let's look at what our categories could be. So if I go to configure inbox, right now it's just on primary. Primary means that every conversation comes into my inbox and that's where it resides. I can turn on social, I can turn on promotions, I can turn on updates, and I can turn on forums. And so now my inbox is going to look a little different because I'm going to have different tabs at the top. And those tabs, Google's going to use this artificial intelligence. It's going to look at what's in the content of that email or who it got sent from or what it's talking about. And so if you get an email from Facebook, it's going to say, hey, Facebook's a social media platform. I'm going to put that into the social one. If you get an update, your account balance is ready to check from the gas company, let's just say. That's probably going to go into updates because that is updating you on something. Forums, if you subscribe to a Google Plus forum or like a Reddit forum or something like that, forums that'll be in there. And then promotions or anything that looks ad-like. So if Amazon's sending you, hey, this is in your inbox, you might want to look at this. That's probably going to go into a promotions. And so if I just turn this on and save, now I've got my primary box, I've got my social box, I've got my promotions box, which has a lot of stuff in it. I've got my updates, which also has a lot of stuff in it. Look, this is about my podcast, G Suite update. So, it does a lot of artificial intelligence sorting, and it's actually pretty accurate. And then forums. This account doesn't subscribe to any forums, so that doesn't surprise me. It also doesn't have any social media associated with it, so that doesn't surprise me either. And so, one last thing I'm going to show you guys is when I go to compose an email, we have some options at the bottom where I can attach a file, I can insert a link, I can insert an emoji, I can attach something from my Google Drive, or I can insert a picture. Now, wouldn't it be nice to be able to voice dictate an email, just like you would voice dictate a text message or something like that using Google Assistant or Siri. Well, you actually can. So I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to search for email dictation Chrome extension. And then I'm going to click on the result. And so in the Chrome Web Store, email dictation by Greg Sadesky is what you're looking for. So I'm going to add that to Chrome. I'm going to add the extension. Should take it a second. And now I have the extension, so I'm going to turn on sync. Actually, I don't want to turn on sync. If you get the option to turn on sync, you want to turn it on. This is my demo account, so I'm not turning on sync. But it is installed. So now I'm going to go back to my email, and I'm going to get rid of this draft. And anytime you add an extension or change something in an extension that you want to affect a web page, you have to reload that page. So I reloaded the page, and now I'm going to compose. And now I have two new buttons down here. Gmail dictation and then the dictation language. So if I click this, it's going to ask me to use the microphone, and I'm going to allow. And so now I can dictate what I want in an email. And if you notice, I do have kind of a southern accent, and I do speak at not the perfect pace sometimes. But if I say for it to insert a comma, it puts a comma there, exclamation mark. It does an exclamation mark. And so it's getting things pretty close to being right. And it's actually pretty quick too. So I can almost read it as fast as I'm speaking it. So it's actually a really handy little extension to add in there. So I hope that your district will allow you to add extensions like that. But that is the short and sweet of getting your Gmail set up and useful to you. Now, I didn't go into details on how to add the backgrounds or funky shapes or GIFs or anything like that, but just getting it organized and getting everything set to be able to ease into the more advanced features of Gmail. I hope this was a good video. I hope you learned something from it. And as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm up over 500 subscribers now, so that is awesome. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing. And if you like my video, click the thumbs up down below. And if you want to be notified anytime I upload a new video, go ahead and click the subscribe button and then click the little bell next to it. And that way you get notifications every time I upload a video. Until next time, thanks for watching.